Good day, RGV. Today on Valley por Vida, we've got a very special guest in studio with us to talk about National La Chancla Day. We're also going to be breaking down the history of La Chancla, and we've got fun trivia time game for you. We're also going to be talking about the latest in entertainment and seeing what Hailey Bieber has been up to. There's a lot going on, so don't go anywhere. The show starts right now. Hi there, and thanks again for joining us today. I'm your host, Danielle Banda, and I have a question for you. Now, if you've lived in the Valley long enough, then you've probably heard about stories starring La Chancla, right? So some, it may be, just a simple house shoe, but to many in our Hispanic culture, it's more of a tool used to, make sure behavior is adhered to. And turns out the stories of La Chancla are so well known that July the 14th has officially been declared National Chancla Day. And we've got the person who made it all possible, Amanda, here in studio with us to tell us all about how she made her vision come to life. Hey, Amanda, how are you?
Hi, thank you so much for the invite.
Yeah, so exciting. So just kind of introduce yourself and then tell us a little bit about how you made La Chancla Day possible nationally.
I'm Amanda Perrier, and I'm a local author and poet, and I've been writing books for about 4 to 5 years now. I've been writing for 13 years.
Wow.
And honestly, it was just something for me to do. I sat down and I told my husband, I was like, hey, it would be so cool. After I wrote The Legend of La Chancla, my children's book, I was like, you know what, it would be so cool for, on my birthday, make La Chancla Day, right? And so he was like, how are you going to do that? And I was like, well, let me do my research and get it done. And little did I know, after sending like 1,200 words in a submission, right?
Yeah.
And explaining to them why it was important for me and why I thought it would be important for our Hispanic communities. And in addition, how we celebrate La Chancla Day, I got the email and my attorney was like, hey, congratulations, your birthday is La Chancla Day from here on after. And it was honestly amazing. And, we celebrated. They brought me a chancla cake, and my family came over. And it was just something that I cried over. And I told my kids, look, on mommy's birthday every year, your kids, their kids, everybody's kids, forever, it will officially be La Chancla Day. And so that's how it happened.
That is so fun. And like you said, there's a book that you worked on to go with this. So tell us a little bit about that.
Man, so The Legend of La Chancla, I wanted to write something. I write a lot of poetry, and it's usually just, poetry. And I was like, you know what? I want to do something that represents who I am, like my history, my background, my culture, more importantly. So I sat down, and one day I started writing a bunch of stuff to my mom, and I said, you know what? I'm going to write a book about La Chancla. Because, you used it so well on me, and my dad did, and my grandma, my grandpa. So I said, you know what? Let me do something that represents my cultura, right? It was important for me and for my kids. And so I did it, and it has the characters of La Llorona. El Huevo made the headline as a spiritual healer.
Wow.
And then we also have El Cucuy in the story.
A little bit of everything.
So it was a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
And we are working on the project, just so you know. We're right now working on for it to come to life in a short story animation film.
Wow.
So I'm working hard. Our team, the team that I have is amazing. My publicist, everybody that we're all working with is amazing.
Yeah.
And every time that they send me something new, I'm like, what? How did they do that?
Yeah.
How did they do this? So that's what's going on.
That's amazing. We are so happy that you helped bring this to us in our lives.
Thank you.
So much creativity. Thank you again so much for being here. You guys, it's just a little bit. She has so much more to offer for La Chancla Day for all of us. And you know what? It's kind of funny because La Chancla has become a part of our Hispanic culture, and well, at least for a lot of us. So we thought that we'd take a little bit of a closer look at where it came from and what it means. So according to NPR.org, La Chancla can often make us, laugh at maybe some of those memories that weren't too pleasant growing up. The site says that an interesting part of the Latino culture is many families using a sandal, or La Chancla in Spanish, as a tool for discipline. Many just, know that they, maybe they get spanked or with a belt or with, bopped on the head with a chancla, but either way, it involved a little bit of mischief. And it also says that statistics have shown that even though La Chancla isn't necessarily used in a positive context in some scenarios, most people, learn to look back as adults and smile when they think about their experiences with it. And there's apparently a comedic video about Hispanic children being very well behaved thanks to the secret of La Chancla. And the site outlines that we can see the fear of La Chancla in the video and just, how much it just does its job. But hey, a sandal or slipper isn't the only form La Chancla can take, right? The site says that shoes, rulers, spatulas, and other objects often have the same effect, and that many people may be able to attest for that. Lastly, the site says that even though it may be a tad outdated to use La Chancla at home, apparently the tradition remains for many. It outlines that a lot of us have a "this is how my folks did it and this is all I know" mindset. So it's really interesting to see, how different generations approach behavior in their home. And since the legend of La Chancla isn't the only Hispanic tradition, we thought we'd test your knowledge just a little bit to see if you know any others. All right, so according to TakeLessons.com, only 4 of the following traditions come from our beautiful Hispanic culture, but do you know which ones do not belong? There's only one. First up is piñatas. The colorful paper mache figures that, maybe you've hit a couple thousand times in your life for candy. Or is it quince años parties, where we celebrate, coming of age for lovely ladies? It could also be the Scopio del Carro event, kind of like a folk tradition with tons of food and music, fireworks, so much going on. Or is it using the term provecho, which is basically like saying bon appetit? We're going to give you just a couple seconds more to ponder over it, these options, but there's only one that's false. And it's time now to take a commercial break, so we're going to go ahead and give you a look at your weather, give you a look at some commercials, but when we come back, we're going to have the latest on your entertainment with things going on in Hollywood, plus how much do you know about Hailey Bieber? We're going to take a quick dive into her life and why fans love her so much. All that and so much more after the break.